4:32 a.m. The backup generator kicked in about 15 minutes ago. The main grid's been flickering on and off for hours, but it finally gave out. No buzz from the fluorescents. No hum from the building. Just the brittle hiss of this old mic and the low throb of the diesel engine downstairs, shaking the floor like a heartbeat. My name is Mark Ellison. This is KPRD 91.7 FM, one of the last stations still pushing a signal out of what's left of Southern Illinois. I'm alone in the booth. There's no crew, no producers, no engineers, just me, a box of batteries, a dying laptop, and whatever this is, we're all stuck in together. Drop a comment. Tell me where you're listening from and what time it is for you. The air outside smells like wet earth and plastic, the kind of rot you don't forget, not just decay, like something still growing, still moving. We haven't seen the sun in almost a week now. It's just clouds, thick, low, and yellow-gray, like old dishwater. Nothing dries, nothing breathes. There's this heat that clings to everything like glue. Not hot enough to be summer, just thick enough to feel wrong. The rain's got this oily film on it. If you leave a bucket out, it comes in yellow. Not brown, not mud. Yellow, like nicotine. People started calling in about it 3 days ago. Strange rashes, coughing, pets acting weird, kids saying their skin itched and then begging not to go outside. I thought it was panic at first, bad water or a mold bloom, but then the phones went quiet. No more calls, just silence. Then the static started. You know that digital emergency tone? The one that always sounds like it's leading into a test pattern? That started bleeding into every band on the dial. Didn't matter if it was AM, FM, NOAA, even the cops band. It was the same, cut off halfway through the tone. Then silence. Then that soft pulse of static, like breathing, in and out, in and out, in and out. I tried calling the local EPA field office. Deadline. Tried the emergency services liaison in Carbondale. No answer. Tried Springfield. Then Chicago. Then DC. No tone. No voicemail. Just nothing. That was yesterday. This morning, I stepped out behind the station to get water from the rain barrel, and I saw it. Growing up the side of the transformer pole near the lot. Fungus. But not the kind that curls up on dead trees. This thing was alive, green and purple veins, wet. It pulsed, literally pulsed, like it had a heartbeat, and wrapped around it were shoes, like a person had been there once, but no body, just the shoes, still tied, facing outward. I haven't gone near it since. I don't think I can. I don't know if this signal's going anywhere anymore, but I'm gonna keep talking while I still can. If you're out there, if you're listening, send something back. Anything. Hit the repeater. Broadcast from your ham set. Burn a fire and tell your neighbors. I'm here. I'm still here. I used to be a voiceover guy, believe it or not. Recorded ads for local businesses, car lots, insurance firms. Come on down to Big John's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Yeah, that guy. The job got quiet when everything started shutting down. Nobody needed commercials when nobody was buying anything. So I came back here. Back home. Where I grew up. This old station out on Route 37. My dad helped build it back in the 80s. Steel and sweat and vinyl tile. He used to tell me radio mattered because it stayed on even when everything else went off. Now, I'm starting to believe him. The last call I got before the phones died was from a woman in Benton. Her name was Joyce. She was whispering, said her husband had come back inside covered in pollen, except it wasn't yellow, it was black. Said he didn't speak. Just stared at her and smiled. His eyes were bloodshot. Then he walked back out and stood on the lawn and stayed there for hours, even in the rain. She said he wouldn't move, just stood there, grinning. She didn't know what to do. I tried to ask her if she was safe, if she had somewhere to go. But then the line just went dead. And I haven't heard a voice on this line since. There's this smell coming in through the vents now. Damp. Sweet. Like flowers left too long in a vase. And it's everywhere. I've seen 3 helicopters in the last day. All military. No markings. No lights. Just humming over the tree line heading west. They don't stop. They don't signal. They don't land. No radio chatter. It's like they're looking for something. Or watching something. I can't tell. The road leading into Marion has been barricaded. Somebody dragged old trucks and RVs across both lanes, piled tires and wood on top. And there's this spray-painted sign on a bedsheet. Do not enter. Infected zone. I haven't seen a car in 2 days. Not one. I don't know how long I'll be able to stay on air. This generator's not made for long hauls and the diesel's running low. I'll try to switch to battery backup when it runs dry, but no promises. If you're hearing this and you're still transmitting, try 145.670 megahertz. That's the emergency repeater channel we set up last fall during storm season. Maybe someone's still out there with a rig that works. Maybe not. I'm going to keep this going as long as I can. I'll check for messages every hour on the half. If you're alive and you can hear me, don't go near the spores. Don't breathe them in. Don't touch anything that moves when it shouldn't. And whatever you do, don't follow the people who stop talking. Don't trust the ones who just stand there. There's something growing inside them. This is Mark Ellison. I'll be back on in an hour, if the power holds. Stay alive. I checked the roof earlier. The rain stopped, but everything's still wet. The moss or fungus or whatever this is, it started climbing up the side of the relay tower. I don't know how. It wasn't there yesterday. Now the steel's slick with this black and green fuzz, and it hums when the wind hits it. I swear to God, it hums. I almost slipped trying to get the tarp over the vent duct. Got this long gash in my arm. Nothing deep. Not bleeding anymore. Just stings. I dumped bleach on it. I hope that's enough. I don't know if it's in the air yet. But I've taped the windows, stuffed rags in the baseboards. I've got one N95 mask left, wrapped in plastic. I'm saving it. I don't know what for. I tried scanning the NOAA weather band again. Nothing. Just that same low pulse of static I mentioned earlier. It's changed, though. Slower now. And deeper. Almost like it's reacting to something. I know how crazy that sounds, but when you listen to nothing but the same tone for 10 hours straight, you start to notice the patterns. It's not random. It never was. If anyone from NOAA is out there, or someone who's worked with atmospheric modeling, you ever heard of bioacoustics that respond like this? If something's feeding sound into the air and adjusting it based on feedback? Is that even possible? Maybe I've been alone too long. Just got a weak signal from someone calling from farther south. Scratchy. Broken. But I caught the name. Nina, from Paducah, Kentucky. She said they blocked off the I-24 bridge with 2 dump trucks and a school bus. Nobody's getting over the river anymore. Said there were people, whole families, stuck on the shoulder screaming to be let through. One guy had his baby out the window, begging. But the guards, they weren't police. No insignia, just black uniforms and respirators. wouldn't budge. She said one of them shot into the air when a woman tried to run past. That was yesterday, before her signal dropped. If you're still out there, Nina. I'm listening. Earlier, I went back to the logs we kept here at the station, old emergency training stuff. Found some handwritten notes from a guy named Walt. He used to do emergency broadcast coordination for the state. Died back in 2017. But he left these scribbled entries about biological anomalies being modeled near old landfills across the Midwest. He mentions a modified myco agent tested in low concentrations in soil remediation projects. Dates line up with that weird EPA presence we had around Crab Orchard a few years back. Remember that? The closed zones, the hush-hush trucks? There's a name he wrote. Spora X. Not sure if that's a code name or an actual strain, but it keeps showing up in his notes next to the words genetic compatibility thresholds. I don't know what that means, but it sounds like something that was never meant to be on the surface, something that needed a trigger, and maybe, just maybe, it found one. My buddy Kyle used to work at an ag bio startup up in Urbana, the kind that plays God with corn genomes and fungal pest control. He told me back in 2021 they were splicing stuff into molds that could digest plastics, clean oil spills, even break down concrete. I thought it was cool at the time. Science fiction stuff. But now I'm wondering what happens when you give something like that a little too much hunger. What happens when you teach it to grow on anything? You know what's worse? He said they were using CRISPR accelerators to make the mutations faster. Thousands of generations in a petri dish in a single day. I called him last week. His voicemail was full. I keep thinking about Joyce's husband, standing there, not blinking, just smiling, covered in spores. People don't act like that, not even when they're sick. That's not infection. That's something else. Like the lights are on, but the wiring's been repurposed. There's this phrase I keep coming back to, host behavior modification. I saw it once in a documentary about wasps that lay eggs in spiders. They inject a chemical, and the spider starts weaving a web the larvae need, not for itself, but for them. Then it just waits to be eaten. What if this thing does that to us? I haven't seen anyone on foot all night. No headlights, no movement across the fields. The only thing moving out there is the wind. And the fungus. It grows across power lines like ivy, spreads down into gutters, replaces paint on the siding of houses with that slick, rubbery sheen. If you're close to it, you can hear it, a kind of soft clicking, like wet leaves shifting against each other. I have a metal crowbar sitting next to me. I sleep with it now, just in case. If you've got food, keep it dry. If your water smells sweet, boil it twice. Don't drink from anything that has green film around the edges. Don't eat anything that came out of the ground in the last 2 weeks. Not roots, not mushrooms, not even carrots. We don't know what this thing is doing in the soil. If you're near a garden center or ag supply store, get potassium permanganate, copper sulfate, or anything antifungal. It might not stop it, but it might buy you time, especially if you're treating surfaces. Mix it in water. Wear gloves. Don't inhale. Keep your mouth covered. There's something that happened earlier I haven't told you about. Not because I'm hiding it, just because I still don't believe it happened. At about 3:12 this morning, I saw someone walking the tracks behind the station. I opened the door a crack and called out. No answer. The person, man or woman I don't know, stopped, turned slowly, then raised their hand. I thought they were waving, but they weren't. They were pointing, not at me, at the sky. I stepped out to get a better look, and when I turned back, they were gone. Not like they ran, like they were never there. There's something going on up there too. I've seen flashes, not lightning, brighter, quicker, like someone taking pictures through the clouds. I'm starting to think it's not just down here that's broken. If you're still with me, I'll keep the mic hot through the top of the hour. If you've got signal, any signal, hit the repeater or broadcast on 91.7. If we can form a network, even a loose one, maybe we can piece together what's going on. Who's still alive? Where's still safe? And if you're hearing this and you've already seen the colony, if it's growing through your town or down your street, don't try to burn it. It doesn't die fast. And it screams. This is Mark Ellison, KPRD. Still broadcasting. Still breathing. Don't stop talking. Not yet. It's 6:41 a.m. The power dipped again. Had to switch to the secondary backup, the little marine battery I wired in last winter after the ice storms. Not meant for long broadcasts, but it'll keep the mic and transmitter going for another hour. Maybe less if the cold front settles in. The weird thing is, it's not cold outside. It's humid, sticky. But inside, it's like the air's thinning. Like the temperature doesn't follow the rules anymore. The vents keep fogging up, even though I sealed them. There's condensation on the inside of the studio window. Not just from my breath. Something's wrong with the pressure. It feels heavier than it should be. I cracked open the emergency frequency, 145.670. Got a faint ping. Thought it was a repeater bounce from someone east. But it wasn't. It was a shortwave ham operator out near Owensboro, Kentucky. Name's Lee. Said he's been in his basement for 3 days. Listening. Recording. Mapping signal fluctuations. He says there's a pattern. According to him, the emergency tone, that pulse that's replaced every NOAA and FEMA feed, matches a rhythm found in natural fungal growth cycles. That's what he said. Not random noise, but replication frequency. Like a cellular signal. Like the fungus is talking, not in words, in pulses. He says it's broadcasting instructions. I asked him if he was sure. He said it lined up with research published years ago by some obscure biotech firm based out of Norway. Company name? Fasken Biotemporal. Never heard of it. But Lee swears they were the ones who first modeled fungal growth via acoustic stimuli. Said they were trying to train mushrooms to grow in the shape of objects, like chairs, or walls, or skin grafts. I thought he was making it up. But then I remembered what Kyle told me about engineered mycelium used in packaging and textiles. It's not that far-fetched. You tell a fungus where to grow, and it does. You tell it what to do with sound, and maybe it listens. Maybe it builds. Lee says the signal's shifted 4 times in the last 2 days. Each time it does, there's a wave of outages, followed by silence, followed by growth. He thinks it's syncing with infrastructure, like it's using the grid, like it's talking through it, or worse, using it to move. If that's true, if it's inside the wires, then everything we've built, our lights, our signals, our towers, every single one might be a ladder for it to climb. I haven't turned on the lights in here for a while. Got another message. Scrawled note slipped under the side door. No return address. No name. Just 2 words, printed in shaky marker. They're hollow. I don't know what that means. A man named Carl called in from Murfreesboro 2 hours ago. He's hiding out at an old middle school with about 9 others. Says they haven't seen a vehicle or plane in almost a day. But they saw something else. He said his brother, who was exposed early on, started coughing, couldn't talk, eventually just sat down and wouldn't move, was still alive when they left him. That was a week ago. They circled back 2 days later, just to see. He was still there, but his chest had opened, not torn, not exploded, opened, and something was growing out of it, like branches, with eyes, not human eyes, too many, all staring in different directions. No one touched him. They just left and locked the doors behind them. Carl says they hear whispers now, when it rains, coming through the bricks. He said he hasn't slept. None of them have. They can't tell what's real anymore. The ground pulses. The walls sweat. Sometimes they hear music. Not actual music. More like notes. Drifting through the air vents. Always the same 5 tones. I told him I'd keep the signal up, as long as I could. If you're in that area, Old Lincoln Middle School, listen for their knock pattern. 3 short, 2 long, 1 short. Don't respond unless you're clean. Don't approach unless you're masked and dry. We need each other now, but we can't save the ones who've already changed. There's a boy out there I've been thinking about, maybe 12. I saw him the day the phones cut out, walking alone along the tracks near the substation. He had a dog with him, big black mutt, tongue hanging out, still loyal. The boy was barefoot, shirt tied around his head, carrying a long stick with a plastic grocery bag on one end, like a flag. He didn't look scared. He looked like he already knew. I called out. He didn't stop. I wonder if he's still walking, or if the fungus found him, or if he found a way to live past this. We don't know what survives. We don't know if the ones who stop moving are truly gone. Some of them get up again, but they're not right. They don't talk. They don't blink. They just stare, like they're seeing through you, or past you, or back towards something that isn't there anymore. Some move like they're still human, but they're not. You'll know by the breath. It smells wrong, sweet, sickly, like fermented fruit and dead animals, like soil turned too long in the dark. They're growing inside. If you see them, keep your distance. Don't touch. Don't follow. Don't let them lead you anywhere. They're not confused. They're not lost. They're bait. I've got 2 cans of chili left, 1 jug of water, and a gallon of gas hidden in the closet. Enough to run the generator for another broadcast or 2. After that, I don't know. I'm not leaving yet. Not until I know this message has been heard. There's still time. I don't know how much, but some. If you're listening, find each other. Stay dry. Stay inside. Keep fire close and electronics off. If you have a wind-up radio, use it. If you have a shortwave, tune to every channel at dusk and dawn. That's when the tone is strongest. That's when the signals ride the sky. We are not alone. We never were. This is Mark Ellison, KPRD 91.7 FM, holding on. 1 more hour. It's 7:47 a.m. The sun should be up by now, but there's no light. Just this soft glow behind the clouds, like someone holding a match behind wet paper. The trees outside the studio are covered in something new. Not just spores now. Webs. Not spider webs. Thicker. Wetter. Like tendons. Stretching between the limbs. Some of them move when the wind doesn't. There's no wind. I tried the emergency broadcast band again. Still just the pulse. But this time, it shifted. For a moment, it broke. It dropped an octave. And behind it, there was something. Like clicking, like teeth or chitin, scraping. I don't even know what to call it. My ears have been ringing since. I opened the studio door to let in some air. That was a mistake. The smell hit me like a fist, like rot and sweetness mixed with bleach. I threw up in the sink. It's getting stronger. It's inside the walls now. Inside the concrete. There are veins, actual veins, threading along the baseboards. I touched one. It twitched. I've been thinking about how this started, how quiet it was. Nobody thought it was a big deal when the first reports came in. Some mold contamination in the river basin. A couple of sick pets. Then people started complaining about the smell. That damp, earthy scent that lingered after rain. But it wasn't just outside. It was in homes, cars, supermarkets. People replaced their air filters, called pest control. Nobody realized they were breathing it in. Nobody realized it wasn't just mold. It was designed. Got another contact. Weak signal out of Cape Girardeau. Woman named Aisha. She was a nurse. Said she's holed up with her cousin in the top floor of a clinic. Said she watched a patient turn. He'd come in with coughing fits, nosebleeds, tremors. They thought it was meningitis. They isolated him, gave him fluids. She said he stopped speaking about 6 hours in. Just sat upright in the bed, head tilted like he was listening to something no one else could hear. Then he opened his mouth, and spores came out. She said it looked like black thread, pouring from his tongue, out of his nose, from his ears. They moved on their own, crawled down his neck, into the pillow, into the bed frame. She tried to call for help, but the phone died in her hand. Literally sparked. She left him there, locked the door. When she came back the next morning, the bed was gone. Not empty. Gone. The wall where it stood was covered in something hard, like bark, but wet, and she could hear breathing from inside. I asked her how she was still alive. She said she hasn't opened a window in 3 days, eats dry crackers, boils bottled water. She doesn't flush, doesn't use the lights. She speaks in a whisper even now, says it listens. If you're out there, Aisha, I hear you. I've got a flashlight and a mirror taped to the antenna upstairs. I'm going to try using Morse code at night. If anyone's close enough to see it, I'll tap 3 slow, 3 fast, 3 slow. The old distress call. SOS. Don't respond unless you're clean. That matters now. Being clean. If you're sick, even just a little, you have to isolate. Not for others, for yourself. I don't think this thing takes hold like a virus. I think it waits. I think it uses the host's brain like a battery, like a scaffold. And once it finds the right neural pattern, maybe sleep, maybe fear, maybe some combination, it takes over. I haven't slept in 32 hours. My hands won't stop shaking. There's a sound under the floor, like something brushing against the pipes. I keep the mic hot so I don't have to listen to it. But it's there. I know it's there. The last 2 people I spoke to on the landline said the same thing. It gets inside machines. Not literally, at least not at first, but it follows heat, follows energy. Old laptops left plugged in, covered. Cars left idling, gone. Battery packs? They vibrate now. Phones don't ring. They buzz like bees, like they're alive. The fungus knows what to look for. Lee, the shortwave guy from Owensboro, pinged again an hour ago. Said he's going dark. Said the signal's too strong near him now. He thinks it's mimicking human voices. Says his radio spoke in his wife's voice last night. His wife's been dead 6 months. He said, "If you hear someone you love on the air, and you know they're gone, don't follow the voice. Don't answer it. It's learning." Then he cut out. I believe him. The sun still isn't up. The clouds are thicker than before. There's a light glow behind them now, almost green. I thought it was lightning at first, but it pulses. Not random, rhythmic, like breathing, or code. I saw a plane last night, first one in days. Cargo jet, no markings, flying low over Route 13. Just above the trees, it dropped something. A small canister, maybe. Parachute deployed late. I tracked it with binoculars. It landed somewhere near the old quarry. This morning, I saw men in hazmat suits, 3 of them, drag it away on a sled. No trucks, no sound, just vanished into the woods. If you're near Williamson County, stay away from the quarry. I think they're trying to contain it, or study it, or both. I know this broadcast is reaching fewer people every hour. Some of you are gone. Some of you turned your radios off. Some of you are no longer able to hear anything at all. But if even one of you is listening, just one, then this matters. Your voice matters. Even if you whisper it into a dead mic, hoping it rides the static. Even if nobody answers. We were meant to speak. We were built to connect. Maybe that's what the fungus hates the most. This is Mark Ellison, KPRD 91.7. Still here. Still speaking. It's 8:51 a.m. There's no morning anymore. Not like it used to be. No sun breaking through the tree line. No birds. No dew on the glass. Just the same heavy air pressing against the building, thick as soup, wet with silence. The trees out front don't move. The grass doesn't sway. I watched a moth crawl across the concrete for a full minute before it stopped. Just stopped. Wings open, legs stiff, body twitching like it had shorted out. I'm still here. Still breathing. Still talking. The studio's gone cold again, even though I haven't opened the door since the last segment. The vents make this soft, groaning sound now, like someone dragging a wet towel through a pipe. I keep turning the thermostat up, but the heat never kicks in. Not that it matters. Heat draws the spores. I've sealed the cracks again, taped the edges with duct tape, stuffed them with towels, sprayed bleach in the corners. The veins on the wall behind the breaker box have doubled in size. I check them every hour. If they start pulsing again, I'm cutting the main feed. Something's changed in the last 2 hours. I don't know what exactly, but I can feel it. Like a weight on my chest, even when I'm not moving. I think it's in the pressure system. Maybe the air pressure is shifting. Maybe the atmosphere itself is different. My ears won't pop. The outside feels like it's holding its breath. And I'm afraid of what's going to come when it exhales. I heard from a man in Cairo, Illinois. Name's Adam. Said he's living above an old bait shop near the levee. Said the Ohio rivers turned murky. Not brown, not from rain, but thick, almost gelatinous. Said fish float belly up with no signs of trauma, and some of them are sprouting black, root-like threads from their gills. He boiled one, just to see. When it split open, it hissed. Adam says he doesn't sleep anymore. Keeps one eye on the river, one on the street. He said he hasn't seen a person in 3 days, but he hears things moving through the trees every night. Not animals. Too slow. Too deliberate. He told me he found a woman standing in the shallows 2 nights ago. Just standing. Arms at her sides, eyes open, face covered in some kind of crust. Looked like coral. Her mouth was open, but nothing came out. No breath. No bubbles. Just stillness. He waited, thinking she'd move. She didn't. She was still there the next morning, and the morning after. He thinks she's part of the river now, that the water accepted her, that maybe it's not water anymore, that maybe it's something else. He said, it wants us close. It wants to keep us still. And then he hung up. Another call came in not long after. A young woman, barely 20th, said her name was Lena. She's on foot somewhere west of Mount Vernon, carrying a CB radio and a backpack with what's left of her family's food. She said she saw something near a high school, a bloom, she called it, like a flower made of people. Arms fused together, faces overlapping, skin blistered over a skeleton of vines, all of it pulsing like a heart. She said it was singing, not a tune, not words, but something rhythmic, low, like a lullaby being played in reverse. She couldn't tell if it was coming from the colony or inside her own head. She ran, didn't look back, said she'd keep moving west, away from the forest, toward open fields. I told her to avoid cities, stay near dry soil, sleep with her back to concrete, and never, under any circumstance, follow the sound. She cried, just for a second, said she hadn't heard another voice in 5 days, then thanked me and cut the line. I'm saving her frequency. Lena, if you're listening, I'll stay on the air until I can't. You're not alone. I've been thinking about what this is, this whole thing, the way it moves, the way it spreads. It's not acting like a pathogen. It's not even acting like a parasite. It's building something, growing towards something. Like it has a map, like it's converting the world into a version of itself. What if it isn't just trying to live? What if it's trying to replace us? I found an old science journal in the filing cabinet earlier, one of those subscription things nobody ever reads. Buried in the back was an article about cordyceps. You probably know the name from those ant videos, the ones where the fungus hijacks the host's brain and forces it to climb before it explodes into spores. But here's the thing they don't usually mention. Those fungi don't just act out of instinct. Some of them have timing. They wait for the right temperature, the right humidity, even the right time of day. They know the world better than we do. So imagine what happens when something gives them more intelligence, more tools, genetic engineering, CRISPR, environmental data from satellites. Imagine someone, some company, some program, trying to give a fungus a mission, and then losing control. I think someone made this. Not on purpose, maybe, or maybe exactly on purpose. And now it doesn't care, because it's already growing us out of the way. If you're listening, write down what you see, map it, track the growth, note where the air smells strongest, where metal begins to bend, where the animals stop running. Build a record, even if there's no one left to read it. Because the thing about survival isn't just living, it's remembering. It's not forgetting what the world was before. I remember. I remember what summer smelled like. I remember morning coffee. I remember the sound of kids playing on the street. I remember how quiet used to be peaceful. Not like this. Not like waiting for the floor to split open. I remember. And I won't let this thing take that from me. Not yet. This is Mark Ellison, KPRD 91.7 FM. Still here, still human, still talking. It's 9:56 a.m. I haven't eaten yet today. Can't. Not with the smell. It's seeping in now. Through the vents, through the walls, maybe even through the wiring. There's no mold on the food. Yet. but it all tastes like it's already been inside something, like it's borrowed, like it wants to go back. I tried boiling water and holding my breath, but even the steam carries that faint sweetness now, the kind you'd smell in a greenhouse that's been locked too long, like rotting fruit behind glass. I keep wiping down every surface, but it doesn't matter. It always comes back. The fungus is in the station. It's quiet, patient. It waits until I'm distracted, then moves, grows behind things, beneath the floor tiles, inside the unused outlets. I saw a thread wiggle its way out of a headphone jack this morning, just a single strand, black and glistening. It moved like it had purpose. I yanked the cable out and burned the end. I don't think it's dead. I'm running out of bleach, and fuel, and time. Someone called in from what used to be East Street. Louis. His name was Dominic. He used a patched-together rig with a car battery and half a walkie. His voice was static-wrapped and hollow, but I could hear the edge in it. That panic people try to pretend isn't there. He said the city's gone. Not just abandoned, gone. He said he went back to get his sister, but her building wasn't there anymore. Just a black pit in the ground. No rubble, no frame. Just this soft depression in the earth, with spores dancing on the surface like pollen. He said he threw a rock into it and heard nothing. No echo, no splash, just silence. Like it swallowed the sound. He didn't go closer. Said his skin started itching, just standing nearby. Said he saw shapes moving behind the trees. Not people, bodies, fused together like roots, crawling without legs, digging with fingers that were no longer fingers. He turned and ran and didn't stop until his nose bled. He said, "They don't follow to chase. They follow to find." Then the line went dead. I wrote it down. They follow to find. We've been trained to look for threat in aggression. Teeth, claws, the chase. But this thing doesn't hunt like that. It waits. It wears patience like armor. It doesn't need to move fast because everything we touch, everything we rely on, is already part of its network. Our walls, our roads, our machines. It isn't invading. It's activating, and we're the fuse. There was a squirrel outside earlier, sat on the windowsill for a full minute, not moving. Its eyes were wrong, not glazed, not wild, just empty, like it was staring through the glass. Its paws were locked, claws curled under. It twitched once, then leapt onto the side of the building and climbed straight up. Not fast, not scared, just vertical. I watched it disappear over the roof edge. Haven't heard anything since. Every so often I get this high ringing in my ears, like feedback, but softer, internal. I don't know if it's the signal or the spores or just sleep deprivation. I haven't rested in over 40 hours now. My vision flickers at the edges, like old tape wearing out. I've started writing things down twice, talking to myself even when the mic's off. The air feels thinner. I keep thinking about this dream I had a few nights ago. If it was a dream, I was standing in a forest, the trees taller than they should be, twisted, black bark, no leaves. The ground was soft, too soft. It pulsed under my feet like I was walking on lungs. In the middle of the clearing, there was a tower. Not metal, not stone, flesh. It pulsed. And I heard something whisper inside it. Not a voice. Something deeper. Older. It said, "We were first. You were temporary." I woke up choking. I think that was the night the veins showed up behind the breaker box. If this is in the air, then it's in us now. Not everyone. Not right away. But if you've breathed the wrong air, if you've stood near the wrong soil, if you've touched the wrong wall, it waits. It learns. It tests. Not for strength. Not for weakness. For yield. It wants to know when you'll stop resisting. I found an old photo of the station team from 1992. My dad's in it, holding a coffee mug, smiling like he always did, like he knew something the rest of us didn't, and wasn't ready to say it out loud. The studio behind him looks so bright, so clean, so full of light. Now the same wall behind me is veined and damp and smells like mold. I miss him. He'd know what to say right now. He'd know how to keep the fear out of his voice. I try. But there are cracks. You can probably hear them. In my breath. In the pauses between words. I'm still human. That means I'm still afraid. But I'll keep going. As long as I can. Because I owe him that. Because I owe you that. If you're out there, if you're still moving, still unspored, keep the lights off. Stay on high ground. Don't trust still water. Don't follow the shapes that look like people you loved. They're not them. Not anymore. And don't go quiet. That's how it gets in. Through silence. Through surrender. Through forgetting. So speak. Even if it's just to yourself. Even if it's just into static. I'll be here. This is Mark Ellison, KPRD 91.7 FM. Still here. Still fighting. Still human. It's 11:04 a.m. There's this ticking sound now. Not the clock. I took the clock off the wall 2 days ago. The second hand kept skipping backward. This is something else. It's inside the wiring. Or the walls. Sounds like water dripping onto metal. Except it's dry. Everything in here is bone dry. My throat, the air, the equipment. But the ticking, it won't stop. Every second, just one. Like a metronome. Like something keeping time. I don't think it's for me. Earlier, I stepped outside to try and siphon the last of the gas from an abandoned pickup behind the lot. The air hit me like heat from a rotting basement, thick and sour. The clouds are so low, they don't even look like sky anymore. They just hang there, yellow-gray, like insulation soaked in nicotine. I crouched down beside the truck, and that's when I saw it. The grass had split. Not bent, split. As if something underneath had pushed up and left a crack in the soil. And out of that crack came this fine dust. Pale, glittering, like spores, but heavier. It didn't float. It fell. Straight down like snow. I held my breath. Didn't take the gas. Went straight back inside. I locked the door twice. I'm seeing more things now. Things that weren't there yesterday. The veins behind the breaker box have changed color. They're not purple anymore. They've turned red. Bright red, like muscle. And I swear I saw them pulse this morning when the generator kicked on. They're feeding off the power. It's inside the grid. I don't know how far it's spread, but if you're in an area still with electricity, get out. Shut off the mains. Kill the breakers. Disconnect anything warm. Anything that hums. The fungus doesn't just grow toward heat. It wants it. Got a transmission about an hour ago. Woman named Erin. She's in a grain silo off I-57. Alone, armed, and paranoid. She said her whole family's gone. Taken by something that looked like her brother but didn't blink. Said it crawled into the barn one night, stood in the corner with its head tilted up, mouth open like it was waiting to be filled. Then it collapsed into itself, just folded down. No bones, no scream, just silence. When she turned the lights on, it was gone, and the floor was wet. She sleeps in shifts now, 40 minutes at a time, keeps a timer, keeps a flare gun loaded. She said she's seen birds stop in mid-flight. Not fall, stop, like they hit a pane of glass no one else can see. She said the wind never blows the same direction twice. She doesn't think it's just the spores. She thinks the sky's wrong. I believe her. I've noticed it too. The clouds loop. They move west, then east, then west again, like a film being rewound. I've started marking the pattern on the window with a grease pencil. I count the passes. So far, 9. What happens after 10? Got another voice on the repeater frequency, barely audible. Sounded young, maybe 14. Said his name was Milo. Said he's underground with his dad and sister in a storm shelter, somewhere near Flora. Said the air down there is clean, but the generator started vibrating yesterday, buzzing like a hornet nest. His dad smashed it with a shovel. Milo says his sister talks in her sleep now. Not in words, not in any language he knows. He said he's been writing down the sounds. I asked him to read one. He did. I won't repeat it. The mic picked up a frequency spike right after he spoke. Equipment hissed, lights dimmed. The veins on the wall pulsed again. Whatever this is, it recognizes its own name. Don't say it. Don't name it. Keep your voice human. Keep your thoughts grounded. Stick to names, places, time of day, weather, memory. Things that make you solid. Things that make you real. Because the moment you start repeating what you hear from the walls, from the dreams, you're already part of it. I'm trying to hang on. I keep my dad's old wind-up watch on the desk, ticking steady, not electronic, not infected, just gears and springs. Every hour I rewind it and listen close. It's a reminder. Time isn't just counting down. It's mine, still mine. So far, it hasn't stopped. I've eaten a spoonful of cold beans, drank a little bleach-dipped rainwater. My stomach's not happy. Doesn't matter. It keeps me awake. The ticking's louder now, closer. There's a word I found in an old science article someone faxed here years ago, buried in the archives. Sapiens drift. It's this idea that organisms, given time and environmental pressure, can develop the appearance of intelligence without actually having a mind. That fungi, molds, even simple colonies can mimic awareness through chemical signaling and pattern recognition. But what happens when they start using our machines, our language, our memories? What happens when the mimicry becomes function? What happens when the colony learns to want? I think we're finding out. It's not just a pathogen anymore. It's a system. A system that builds from what we leave behind, what we forget, what we lose, and it's learning fast. If anyone out there is listening, stay off the roads, stay out of the rain. If you find old books, keep them. Write by hand, speak to others, keep yourself in your body. Don't become just another node. Don't give it a voice. That's what it wants. This is Mark Ellison. KPRD 91.7 FM. Still broadcasting, still breathing, still myself. It's 12:14 p.m., midday, they'd call it. But it doesn't feel like any noon I've known. The sky is so dim now I can stare straight up without blinking. The light doesn't burn, it presses down. Like there's weight behind it. Like something up there is sitting just on the edge of sight, waiting for your eyes to slip, just once, so it can move. I don't look up anymore. The birds are gone. Not just quiet, gone. No feathers, no bones, no flutter behind the trees. They used to gather on the power lines outside this station, whole rows of them, black silhouettes stacked like notes on sheet music. Now the lines are empty, and the poles, covered in growth. It climbs higher every day. The transformer's half wrapped in what looks like bark, but pulses if you watch it too long. The pulses match my heartbeat. I've timed it. There's something in the hallway now, not inside the room, not yet. But I hear it move, not footsteps, not breathing, just a sound like dry grass rustling under a tarp. Then silence, then more of it, closer, always closer. I talk louder when it comes near. I think my voice keeps it back. Or maybe I just want to believe that. I tried to broadcast a loop earlier, just a simple one. Names of cities, known clean zones, signal instructions. But the playback came back wrong. Slower, deeper. My voice, but not me. It dragged the syllables, stretched the pauses. It added something at the end I didn't say. A low hum. Then the sound of breathing. And then my own voice whispering a name I don't remember speaking. I erased the tape. I don't record anymore. If you're hearing this live, know that I'm still here. Still flesh. Still trying. Still trying. There was a woman named June. She called from somewhere near Effingham. Said she'd been traveling by bike, avoiding major roads, only moving during daylight. If you can call this daylight. She found a tunnel. An old service access under a shopping center. It was dry, insulated. Perfect for hiding. She said the walls were clean. The air was quiet. She thought she'd found safety, until she noticed the silence wasn't empty. It was full. She said the quiet in that tunnel felt occupied, like there were voices hiding in the hush. Not echoes, delays. She'd speak, and a second later, her own voice would come back. Not from a bounce, but from behind her. Slightly different. A little slower. With just enough change to make her doubt herself. She left after the second night. Said she woke up and her mouth was open. She hadn't opened it. Her jaw was stiff, lips cracked, teeth dry. But it was open. And she couldn't close it for several minutes. Like something had been using her to speak while she slept. She rides with a cloth tied over her mouth now. She doesn't sleep anymore. Another call came through. Old man named Hector. Lives in a retirement trailer east of Rend Lake. Said his neighbors all left days ago. He didn't. Couldn't. Has a bad leg. Said he was fine until last night. That's when the static started coming through the landline. Not the phone. The outlet. The phone itself was dead. But the jack, it hissed. He unplugged it. It still hissed. He says he hears music in it now. The kind you'd hear in a waiting room. Soft, looped, almost comforting. But then, underneath it, there's a whisper. A long, drawn-out whisper of his name. Every 3 minutes. He covered the jack with tinfoil and tape. I told him that wouldn't help. He said, I know. But it gives me something to do. He still makes tea every morning. Still brushes his teeth. Says if the world ends, he wants to be clean when it does. I respect that. The ceiling vent in here drips now, not water. Something thicker, brownish gray. I've placed a plastic basin under it. There's a crust forming around the rim. Every few hours it lets out a small burp, like the room is breathing through it. I don't dump the basin anymore. I just watch it. I think it knows I'm watching. I keep my flashlight on at night, not because I'm afraid of the dark, but because when the light's off, The walls begin to hum, not loud, just enough to fill the silence, enough to remind me there's movement just beyond my reach. I haven't seen another person in 6 days. No cars, no headlights, no footsteps on gravel, just fungus. It grows where eyes used to look, in the windows of cars, around doorknobs, along the curves of old toys left behind in the yard. It wraps everything that used to be held, touched, loved. I think it's learning emotion, or feeding on it, maybe both. Sometimes I think I hear my mother's voice in the static, not words, just the cadence, the sound of her calling my name when dinner was ready, when I was playing in the yard. I haven't heard that in over a decade, but it's perfect, right down to the way she used to drag the last syllable. I don't answer. I won't, because if it's her, she'd tell me to run. And if it's not, then I already know. To anyone still alive, still thinking clearly, this is the part where you hold on harder. This is the part where your hands shake and your voice cracks and your bones feel like hollow reeds, but you keep going. Because you are not this. You are not spores. You are not roots. You are not part of the hum. You are you. Your memories are your armor. Your voice is your blade. Your stubbornness is your shield. Don't go quiet. I'll keep the mic hot until the batteries die. After that, I don't know. I'll write messages on the window. I'll flash the emergency beacon. I'll do whatever I can. But for now, I'm still on air. This is Mark Ellison, KPRD 91.7 FM. Still myself, still here, still human. It's 1:37 p.m. There's something wrong with the mirrors. I hadn't looked at myself in 3 days. Not really. Just caught glimpses in the dark window at night, or the metal edge of a flashlight's reflection on the filing cabinet. But this morning, when I went into the bathroom to wash my face, I caught a real look. It was me, but not me. My eyes were too wide, too still. Skin pale, not just from lack of sun, wrong pale, like something unfinished. And my mouth, it moved before I did. Just a twitch, barely a second. But I didn't tell it to do that. I smashed the mirror, taped over the pieces, stuffed them into the closet, and locked the door. I don't want to see that again. Not because I'm scared of what I saw, because I'm scared of what else might look back next time. Something's growing in the hallway. It wasn't there yesterday. Black vines pressed along the base of the walls, right above the linoleum. They pulse if I step too close. I haven't touched them. I won't. But they're closer to the studio door now, maybe 12 feet away. I put duct tape on the floor where they stop. A reminder. A line I can see even in the dark. I know it's crossing soon. I got a call this morning. A real voice. Clearer than anything I've picked up in days. Woman named Shauna. She's in a church basement with 3 others, just outside of Harrisburg. She says the stained glass turned black. Not covered, changed. Like the colors bled out overnight. She said the red turned gray. The blue went flat. The green vanished entirely. Said they looked like eyes now. Not symmetrical, not perfect, just shapes that watch. Every time they try to leave, something whispers through the vents. Always the same phrase. Lay down. Over and over. Slow. Software patient. Lay down. She says they haven't. Not yet. But one of the men with her, Jeff, she thinks, sleeps longer every night, even when the noise is loud, even when the others shake him. He's smiling in his sleep now. She asked me if I thought he was still human. I didn't answer. The truth is, I don't know anymore. I've been mapping the broadcast pulse again, the fungal tone. It's changing. Used to be once every 3 seconds. Now it's closer to 2.7. And it's layered, like two signals riding on top of each other. One wideband, one ultra low. I recorded it, played it backward. You ever hear something you're not supposed to? Not in a mystical way. I mean something your ears can pick up but your brain doesn't want to understand? It said, "We grow what you leave behind." Clear as day, and then static. I burned that recording. If it can speak like us, if it can learn tone, pitch, pause, then it's not just mimicking. It's molding, adapting the sound to slide under the skin of your thoughts. It doesn't need to force you. It just waits until you think its words are yours. That's how it wins. Had a man radio in earlier from Centralia. Didn't give a name. Just coordinates and a warning. Said not to trust the people standing still. Said if they're too clean, too calm, too centered, they're not people anymore. He said, the fungus figured out symmetry. That stopped me. Because I've seen them too. The people who don't move. Who stare through the glass. Who never blink. They always look perfectly arranged. Shoulders level. Hands even. Heads tilted just so. Like mannequins dressed in memory. I don't know what happens if you get close. I don't want to find out. He said one more thing before signing off. Said he woke up this morning with dirt under his nails and no memory of how it got there. He lives on the second floor of a concrete building. He doesn't even own a plant. I think it's getting in through dreams now, through rhythms, through electrical pulses. The human brain runs on electricity, and so does this station. So does every city, every tower, every machine we trusted to carry our voices to each other. Maybe the fungus doesn't just want to shut us down. Maybe it wants to speak with us, or through us, or as us. I'm holding on. I keep the lights dim, keep the door locked. Sleep in bursts, hand on the crowbar, flashlight under my chin. I only drink water that's been boiled twice. I don't eat anything that grows. If it came from the ground, it stays out. There's a nest of cables under the desk. The veins are winding around them now. Slow but certain. I thought about cutting them, but that would mean losing the signal. And if I lose the signal, I lose you. And I can't do that. Not yet. This broadcast is more than survival. It's memory. It's resistance. It's proof that I haven't been taken. That we haven't been. As long as this voice is mine, I'll keep using it. Because silence is surrender. And I'm not done. If you're listening, don't follow the singing. Don't go to the light. Don't trust what moves like a person but doesn't look at you. Don't eat anything with a sweetness to it. Trust the bitter. Trust the dry. Trust the real. This is Mark Ellison, KPRD 91.7 FM. I'm still here. Are you? It's 2:52 p.m. If I go quiet for a second, I can hear it now. It's not the wind. It hasn't blown in days. Not the power either. That's off again. It's deeper than that, like something just below the surface, pressing up from the basement, flexing under concrete. It pulses every couple minutes. A soft thump, like a heartbeat that doesn't belong to me. The floor is warm. It used to be cold in here. Cement, tile, metal framing. All cold. But now, There's heat coming from below, and it's not from the generator. I don't think I'm above the ground anymore. I think the ground moved. Or maybe the fungus built something underneath. Something big enough to hold all of us. I tried to leave earlier, packed a small kit, radio, flare, water, one mask. Got to the stairwell door, touched the handle, and froze. It was wet, and I hadn't heard rain in 4 hours. Then the handle twitched, just once. I stepped back and locked the studio again, sat down, picked up the mic. Because whatever's out there, it wants me to stop, wants me to walk out into it, wants me to give up the words and let the silence in. But I won't. I heard from a man named Jacob. Shortwave contact from somewhere east of the Wabash Valley Fault. Said he's been underground for nearly 9 days now, alone. Used to be a geologist. Said the fault line's been singing. Not quaking, singing. He's got seismometers down there, the kind that can pick up micro vibrations. He said the normal hum of tectonic drift, what he's heard every day for 20 years, has been replaced with a patterned rhythm. Too regular, too precise. He called it a structural throb. Said it sounds like something massive, growing under pressure. Something wrapping itself around the bones of the earth. He thinks the fungus is building downward. Not just growing through buildings, power lines, and lungs, but into the crust. He said, if it gets deep enough, it won't need us anymore. And then he said, maybe it never did. He thinks we were just scaffolding. And maybe he's right. There was another voice on the repeater. This one wasn't clear. It came through like a dream. Soft static, low pitch. I couldn't even tell if it was male or female. But it said my name. Not once. 4 times. Exactly the same each time. Same inflection. Same pause. Like a recording. But slightly off each time. Like it was trying to correct itself. Then it said, "You left the window open." And I swear, I heard the lock on the hallway glass click shut from the inside. I haven't had that window open since last week. But now, it's fogged. Not on the outside. From within. I wiped the condensation away earlier and saw something behind it. A smear of handprints. 12 of them. All perfectly spaced. All facing in. Got another call. Old rig. Faint signal. Guy said his name was Conrad. Up in Charleston. He's been climbing rooftops, trying to spot the pattern in the way it spreads. Says the fungus doesn't cover everything. It's selective. It avoids sand, skips over cracked asphalt, never touches iron fences. But it always spreads along water lines. He said he mapped the growth against an old infrastructure map from the 90s and found something. A spiral. A perfect spiral, 26 miles wide, centered near a dry reservoir. He says it's growing in a Fibonacci sequence. I asked him what that meant. He said, "It means it's not random. It means it's following a blueprint." He asked me something then. Voice cracked. Said, "Mark, what if we didn't build the world for ourselves? What if we were just preparing it for something else?" Then silence. Then static. I've been staring at the fuse box for the past 15 minutes. There's something wrong with the panel. One of the fuses is blackened, but not burned. Not broken either. Just black. Like the color was pulled out of it. I touched it. It was soft. Fuses aren't supposed to be soft. I wrapped it in a paper towel and tossed it outside. Closed the door behind me, and when I turned around, there was a shape in the hallway glass. Not a person. Just the suggestion of one. Like fog being held in the outline of a man. It didn't move, but it was facing me. The smell is worse now. Not rot, not mold. Something worse, like old sugar and blood. The kind of smell that coats your throat and makes you cough without breathing. I've been dry heaving for 20 minutes. Still no appetite, still no thirst. Still no sleep. But I keep talking. Because this voice, my voice, is the only thing I have left to remind me I'm still me. I don't know how much longer I can broadcast. The battery's hot to the touch. I've rigged a fan to blow over it, but the fan stutters. The power flickers when I say certain words, especially when I say the name of the fungus. I won't say it again, because I think when I do, it listens, and I think it's starting to understand. This is Mark Ellison, KPRD 91.7 FM. Still breathing, still resisting, still here. It's 4:03 p.m. The shadows are wrong now. I don't mean long or soft or twisted. I mean wrong. I've got one light still working, an old LED clamp lamp bolted to the shelf. I've kept it steady, same position, unmoved for days. But today, just before I started speaking, I noticed something. The shadow of my hand doesn't match. I wave my hand. The shadow lags. Not like bad frame rate or a slow shutter, like the shadow is waiting for something, measuring me. And sometimes it moves before I do, only slightly. But I've watched it too long not to know the difference. I've stopped moving unless I have to, because I don't want to know what happens when my shadow gets ahead of me. Earlier I heard a sound in the break room, loud enough to make me jump, like glass falling, shattering. I waited, listened, nothing followed. After 5 minutes, I crept over, crowbar in hand, mask on. It was the coffee pot, shattered on the floor. But here's the thing, the glass wasn't scattered. It was stacked, perfectly, in the shape of a circle, one big ring on the floor. No footprints, no dust, just glass, placed like someone was arranging a symbol. I didn't touch it. I just backed out and closed the door. This isn't mold anymore. This isn't biology. This is design. Got another contact an hour ago. Woman named Meredith. She's holed up in a fire watch tower just north of Shawnee. Says she hasn't seen another person in a week. No walkers, no shadows, no eyes peeking from the forest. Just trees. And now, the trees have changed. She says the branches grow back overnight, that when she breaks them, burns them, they're back by morning. Not in the same way, just the same shape, the same curve, the same angle, but longer, and always facing the tower, bending toward her. She tried chopping one, said it bled. Not sap, blood. She hasn't gone down since. She's got a flare pistol and an old ham rig. She said she'll signal again at sunset. Asked me if I could still see colors. I told her yes. She said, "Lucky. All mine are turning white." Then cut the line. A boy named Caleb messaged me on the repeater. Said he's alone now. Parents gone. Thinks they were taken in their sleep. Said he woke up in the cellar and couldn't find them, but their shoes were still by the door. And the dog wouldn't stop barking at the wall. The concrete wall. He dug into it with a screwdriver and said he found teeth. Not human, not animal, something in between, embedded in the concrete like fossils. Dozens of them, just beneath the surface, as if the building had grown around them. He asked me what to do. I told him to seal the wall. He said, "It already sealed itself." I'm not sure what that means, but I haven't heard from him since. The vines are inside the vents now. I can hear them brushing against the metal, They move when I speak, pause when I stop. I think they're drawn to the vibration. They want the voice. They want this signal. I thought about shutting it down earlier, just turning off the transmitter, disconnecting the antenna, pulling everything back inside. Maybe then it would stop spreading. But then I thought about Aaron in the grain silo, Shauna in the church basement, Hector in his retirement trailer, Caleb in his cellar. They're all listening, so I can't stop. Even if it kills me, even if the signal itself is bait, I have to be the hook they can still grab onto. The fungus, if you can still call it that, it's changing the rules now. Not just biology, but time, memory, orientation. I look at the clock and it spins. I stare at my notebook and the letters rearrange. I hear voices in the white noise. Some I know, some I've never met. But they speak like they know me. Like they've been watching me through cracks in the wall for years. Like they're home. I tore out every drawing my niece ever made that I kept in my wallet. Not because I don't love her, but because the faces on those stick figures started smiling differently. Wider. Higher. Wrong. I think it can change memory now. Not just our thoughts, but what we think we thought. Don't trust anything that feels too familiar. That sudden comfort, that urge to let your guard down, to believe maybe this is just a dream, or an accident, or some temporary glitch. That's how it takes you. Not in panic, but in peace. Got a brief ping on the weather band. Not a voice, a digital message packet, uncoded but corrupted. Repeated 4 times. One phrase made it through. Colony Stage 4. Integration confirmed. No timestamp, no sender, just that line. Stage 4. Which means there were 3 stages before. And none of us noticed. I have to go soon. Not for long. Just to check the fuel. The generator's choking again, gulping diesel like it's lung sick. I keep it on low, throttle down, just enough to keep the signal alive. But it's coughing now. And when it dies, so do all the voices I'm trying to hold on to. If you're hearing this, stay low. Stay dark. Stay real. Hold fire near. Don't eat anything that smells like fruit. Don't drink anything that tastes like memory. Don't trust your eyes if they start to flicker. Breathe slow. Speak your name out loud once every hour. Say where you are, even if no one hears. Especially then. Because that's what it wants you to stop doing. It wants you to forget yourself. This is Mark Ellison. KPRD 91.7 FM. Still me, still human, still trying. It's 5:21 p.m. The floor is breathing now. It rises and falls so slowly you wouldn't notice unless you're sitting still, legs crossed, back to the wall, watching the dust lift off the linoleum in steady, invisible waves. I've tested it. Set a pencil down. It rolls. Always west. No wind. No vibration. Just pressure. Just breathe. It's beneath the building. Whatever this colony is, however deep it goes, it's not just around us anymore. It's under us. Through us. It's remaking the land itself. This is no longer Illinois. It's something else now. The walls are soft in the corners. I pressed a crowbar against the baseboard earlier, and the metal left an imprint in the drywall like it was clay. It slowly filled back in. You could watch it, like muscle, like scar tissue healing. Except nothing ever bled. I got a message from Meredith again, the fire tower woman. Her voice was lower this time, strained. She hasn't slept in 4 days. Said the trees finally reached the edge of the platform. The branches don't sway anymore. They hold still, perfectly balanced, just touching the base of the railing. And at night, they hum, like tuning forks. She says it shakes her teeth. She found moss growing in her boots. Inside, not out. She didn't take them off. The moss is warm. It pulses with her heartbeat. She said she knows it's inside her now, but she's not going to leave the tower. She'd rather rot up high where she can still see the sky, even if it isn't real anymore. She ended the call with, "Tell them I stayed awake. Meredith, if you're still listening, I heard you. I won't forget. There's someone else now. A new voice. It's been broadcasting every few hours from somewhere north. Strange frequency. Doesn't match any known band. The transmission cuts in, distorted, like someone speaking through cracked glass underwater. I've heard it 4 times. Every message is the same. We are not invasive. We are the return. That's it. No location. No voice ID. Just that. Repeated twice. Then silence. I think it's the colony. I think it's speaking for itself now. Or through someone. Or something. I don't know how it got access to the frequency. Maybe it doesn't need gear anymore. Maybe it can vibrate wires, vibrate walls, vibrate thought. Every time I hear that voice, I feel this pressure behind my eyes, like a memory trying to get out that doesn't belong to me. And for a second, just a second, I feel like I understand what it's saying. Not the words, the intention, the calm, the inevitability. It doesn't want to kill us. It wants to include us, to reformat us. We were never the target, just the template. I saw someone outside the station today. Real or not, I don't know anymore. They walked along the ditch behind the tower, barefoot, wearing a torn reflective vest and nothing else. Their hands were behind their back, fingers woven together like they were praying. But their head was bent backward, not twisted, just wrong, as if the neck had forgotten what direction forward was. They stopped once, turned their whole body slowly toward the building. They didn't have eyes anymore, just skin pulled tight over the sockets, with tiny black spores pulsing beneath the surface like sweat. They didn't knock, didn't speak, just waited. I closed the blinds. When I looked again, they were gone. I tried the shortwave relay again. Nothing, just occasional bursts of what sounds like wet clicking. And once, just once, I heard my own voice played back. But it was saying something I've never said. Don't open the door. Not yet. It sounded tired, like a version of me that's farther along, more worn, maybe less human. I think I'm hearing the future through the static, or maybe I'm hearing the ones who gave in. There's a man named Dominic. He's still alive, still holed up in a radio shack outside McLeansboro. He called to say the spores are thick as fog now. Said he tried filtering the air through coffee filters and vodka. Said it worked for a while, but now his tongue is turning black. Only the tip. He can still speak, but only in bursts. Every word takes effort, like pushing against a wall that keeps getting heavier. He asked me not to let him go quiet, to keep his name alive. Dominic, I will. You're still here, even if you can't speak. I've written your name on the wall behind the console. I'll write yours too, if you're out there. Send your name, your location, anything you want remembered. I'll keep them up, as long as I can. The The vines have reached the top of the studio door. They don't touch the handle. Not yet. But they're waiting. I know that now. Not growing. Not spreading. Waiting. For the right moment. For a silence long enough. For one breath where I don't fill the space with words. I won't give them that. I will not go quiet. I will not be turned. This is not a horror story. This is a memory. We're not dying. We're being rewritten. And I refuse to hand the pen over. This is Mark Ellison. KPRD 91.7 FM. Still here. Still resisting. Say your name out loud, right now. Into the static. I'll say mine back. It's 6:29 p.m. Sunset should have started 20 minutes ago, but the sky hasn't changed. Still that same bruised gray. Still that light that feels like it's leaking from behind skin. Everything's still. Not quiet. Still. The trees don't move. The water in the gutter doesn't ripple. The air presses against the building like it's holding its breath again. Something's about to shift. I feel it in my teeth. I'm writing names on the wall again. 1 per square foot of clean space I've got left. First names only, because surnames feel heavy now, like weights dragging memory into the dirt. First names are lighter. First names float. Meredith, Caleb, Dominic, Shauna, Lee, Nina, Adam. Each one of them still breathing. Somewhere. I can't hear them all anymore, but I know they're still out there, even if they're hiding in silos or under beds or behind walls. I write their names so I don't forget, because forgetting, that's the first step. That's how it starts. The colony doesn't come for your lungs. It comes for your language, your names, your details. It starves you of context until you don't know who you are anymore. And then it fills the gaps, like mold creeping into drywall. There's a man who contacted me today. Said he's been walking north since yesterday. He's been counting steps. Exactly 28,315 as of the time he called. Says he walks because if he stops, he forgets where he was going. He can feel the thoughts leaking out behind him like footprints that vanish in wet sand. He only remembers numbers now. He doesn't know his name, but his voice was clear, not infected, not slow, still human. He asked me if I remembered how to sing. I told him no. He said, "Good, that's how it gets in." And then he hung up. A transmission came through about 20 minutes later. Same frequency, same pitch, but a different voice. It sang a lullaby. Off-key, crooked, like a music box with rusted teeth. I cut the power for 15 seconds just to stop it. It didn't help. The vines have reached the air ducts. I blocked them with plastic, tape, rags, foil, anything I had. Doesn't matter. The sound still comes through. Clicking, scraping, a kind of soft organic wheeze, like the whole building is starting to wheeze, like it's inhaling something I can't see. The static on the emergency repeater is heavier now. It's not just white noise. It's layered, textured. You can hear patterns in it if you listen too long. Tapping, like fingers on glass. Breathing, but reversed. And under it all, the same phrase, barely audible, like it's not for us to hear, but for something inside us to respond to. Return, return, return. It pulses once every 10 seconds. Exactly 10. Like a heartbeat that doesn't belong to any single creature. Like a metronome ticking off a countdown we were never meant to read. I haven't slept since yesterday. I can't. When I close my eyes now, I see the pattern. Not hallucinations. not dreams. The pattern. The same spiral that Conrad mapped with the growth near McLeansboro. The same branching structure found in the flooded alleys of East Street. Lewis. The same ring that formed from the broken coffee pot in my break room. It's everywhere. A perfect fractal, mirrored through the cracks in asphalt and bone. It wants shape. It wants form. It wants structure. Because it's building something. Not a creature. Not a colony. An idea. It's trying to become thought. It's using us to evolve past biology, past flesh, through sound and vibration and memory. The more we speak, the more it listens. The more we forget, the more it fills in. That's why I talk. That's why I haven't stopped. Because silence gives it room to write. I got a report from someone in Springfield, a doctor. Said the hospitals are gone, not abandoned. Gone. The walls still stand, the beds are there, but everything's empty. No staff, no patients, not even dust. She said the shadows are too perfect in there. Said you can see yourself standing in the reflection of the hospital windows. But you don't move when you do. She checked her pulse in the mirror. The reflection had none. She left. I told her to keep walking, to talk to herself, to write her name down and tape it to her chest. She said she'd try. She didn't tell me her name. I think she already lost it. There's something happening with time now. I can feel it slipping. Not just seconds, but whole moments. I'll say a word, and then feel like I haven't said anything at all. I'll remember a transmission, and then realize it hasn't come through yet. I'll look outside, and the sun will be in the same spot for hours. I wrote the same sentence in my notebook 5 times today, and didn't notice until just now. It grows when we forget. It's written on every page. Always the same hand. Always the same ink. But I don't remember writing it. I don't know what's memory anymore, only what I record. So I'm saying this now, on the air. For anyone who needs to know, my name is Mark Ellison. I was born in 1986. I grew up in Harrisburg, Illinois. I used to sneak into this station when I was 15 to borrow mic time. My dad showed me how to strip cables and solder the boards. I love strong coffee, cold mornings, the sound of static before sunrise. I'm not infected. Not yet. This voice is still mine. I need you to remember that. I need me to remember that. Because whatever this thing is, it wants names. It wants patterns. It wants to rewrite who we were into something else. Something beautiful. Something clean. Something hollow. Don't let it. Write your name. Speak it out loud. Tape it to your mirror. And if the reflection doesn't say it back, shatter the glass. This is Mark Ellison. KPRD 91.7 FM. Still me. Still real. Still resisting. It's 7:43 p.m. Still no sunset. The light outside the window is stuck. Same shade, same smear across the clouds, like someone froze the atmosphere mid-breath. I watched it for 2 hours just now. No change. I marked the spot where the clouds split near the radio tower. It hasn't moved. Time's slipping. Or maybe we are. I think it's holding us here. Not just the station, not just the land. United States. Like we've been pinned to a loop. A moment repeating over and over while the rest of the world folds around us. The fungus isn't just spreading anymore. It's folding space. Folding time. Folding meaning. The studio smells sweet again. Syrupy. Thick. Like the inside of a beehive that's been left out in the sun. I opened the door to the hallway, and the smell hit me so hard I dropped to one knee. The vines are wrapped around the light fixtures now, tense, pulled tight, like cables under strain. And they're humming, faint but steady, a low tone right below hearing. You don't notice it until you start to breathe in rhythm with it, and that's how it gets in. I caught myself earlier, sitting, staring, breathing in time with the hum, my hand resting on the desk, my mouth slightly open. It took me 5 minutes to snap out of it. I tore the headphones off and smashed the playback unit. No more replays. I don't want to hear myself through its filters. I got a signal from a woman named Dee, just outside Fairfield. She said something I haven't been able to shake. She said, "They don't take people anymore. They record them." I asked her what she meant. She said her sister disappeared 5 days ago, vanished in the middle of the night. The next morning, the air vent in their shelter started whispering, and it was her sister's voice, word for word, repeating conversations they had weeks ago, jokes, arguments, silences, but with no pauses, no emotion, just raw data. She thinks the colony absorbs us and plays us back like audio files, not for memory, for function. She sealed the vents. But she says the whispers are back, and now they say things her sister never said. Things like, "It's safer when you're inside the memory," and "You don't need to breathe forever." Dee's still there, still alive, still sending transmissions every 2 hours. I'm holding onto her voice like a lifeline. If you're listening, Dee, I hear you. You are not an echo. I've been charting the pulse again. The background hum in the airwaves. It lines up with a sound that only animals should hear. Low-frequency vibrations picked up by seismic instruments. It matches the tremor pattern of a volcanic rift. Except we're in Illinois. No fault line strong enough to make this kind of noise. Unless the colony's creating one. Unless this whole part of the continent is being softened, prepped. I spoke to someone who called himself Lucas, former telecom contractor from Peoria. He's been monitoring the old 5G tower grid with a handheld analyzer. Says some of the towers are transmitting without power. No grid, no solar, no fuel, just on. And the signals? Not data, not voice, just one tone. A waveform that doesn't match anything in the system catalog. But here's the kicker. It's not electromagnetic. It's organic. He called it a living frequency. Said he found spores crusted inside a disassembled antenna node. Said they responded to sound. The louder the tone, the faster they grew. He thinks the fungus has hijacked the comm towers, turned them into growth stimulants. It's using our own tech to expand itself. And he says it's working. He's gone dark since last night. I scratched something into the side of the console earlier. We thought the machines would kill us. It was the signal. I don't remember writing it. But it's my handwriting. And the knife was in my hand. There's a new voice in the static. Young. Could be male, could be female. The kind of voice that slips in just under the edge of what sounds human. It speaks in bursts, short sentences, words arranged almost correctly, but not quite. It said, "This is the correct station. Thank you for speaking." Then nothing. I haven't responded. Not directly. I just keep broadcasting. As long as I'm talking, I'm still me. As long as I'm remembering, I'm not being overwritten. I've started writing my name every hour. On my arm, on paper, on the walls. Mark Ellison, born 1986. human. Still, still, still. If you stop saying your name, it starts to choose one for you. You don't want that name. Got a weak contact from someone driving a big rig across old Route 15. Said the highway's grown over. Said the mile markers have faces, not statues, just impressions. Smiles carved in rust. He says they sing when he passes. He doesn't stop anymore, just drives, eyes forward. Says the moment you look at them, you forget how to drive. He asked me to play a song, any song, something human. I don't have a music library anymore. The drives all went dead. So I sang. I'm not good. Voice cracked. Notes slid off key. But I sang. Just one verse of a lullaby I barely remembered. My mom used to hum it. Something about stars and long roads. Something small. Fragile. He didn't speak after that. Just drove. I hope he's still listening. If you are, your name matters. Tell me next time. I'll remember it for you. Because that's all we have now. Names, voice, signal. This is Mark Ellison. KPRD 91.7 FM. Still human, still me. Still breathing in the right direction. It's 9:11 p.m. There are no stars tonight. I know that sounds like a nothing detail, but it isn't. No cloud cover, no wind. The sky is clear, and yet it's blank. Not just dark, empty. It's like the sky forgot how to be sky. Just a flat sheet of absence hanging above the earth. The kind of darkness that feels printed, pressed down. The kind that wants to be touched, but never touched back. I stepped outside for a second, just long enough to see if the air was changing. I didn't breathe deep, just a small sample. The smell's getting fainter, that sweet, syrupy decay. It's fading, but not because it's dying, because I'm getting used to it. That scares me more than anything. There's a point in every sickness where you stop feeling sick, where the fever isn't heat anymore, it's just you. I think that's happening. Not to my lungs, not to my skin, but to my mind. If I lose the smell, I lose the alarm. If I stop feeling scared, I start believing this is normal. That's the last line, and I'm standing on it. I got a signal from someone who didn't say his name. Just a whisper. I'm underneath the tower. I didn't answer. He said it again, louder. I'm underneath the tower. That's when I realized he meant this tower, my tower. The relay mast 20 feet behind the station, the one wrapped in pulsing vine now, covered from base to antenna in fungus so dense it looks like black muscle. I haven't gone near it in days. Won't again. But now someone's down there. Or something is pretending to be. I stayed quiet. He didn't knock. Didn't call back. But now I hear footsteps in the gravel sometimes. Not pacing, not stomping, just standing. Shifting weight. Like whatever's out there is practicing how to be me. I don't look out the back window anymore. There's a child's voice on the weather band. Keeps repeating a question. Do you remember me yet? Same tone every time, like a broken tape loop. Sometimes the voice laughs, not playfully, mechanically, like it knows what laughter sounds like, but not what it feels like. I've started unplugging all unused mics when I sleep. Doesn't matter. The static still carries sounds. Breathing, footsteps, shuffling papers. Sometimes I hear the mic record before I speak. like the signal knows what I'm going to say, or already did. There's a pulse in the walls again, every 6 minutes now. I can hear it clearly if I put my ear to the concrete. It's not like before. It's deeper, more confident. It doesn't sound like breath anymore. It sounds like a voice clearing its throat, as if the colony is getting ready to speak in full. To declare. Got another ping from Dee in Fairfield. She says the whispers through the vents have changed. They don't repeat memories now. They make suggestions. Soft commands in her sister's voice. Things like, move the furniture to the door. Let the cold air in. Drink from the metal sink. Take off your name. She said it like that. Take off your name. I asked her what that means. She said she doesn't know. Then she said, but I'm starting to want to. She's still holding, still sending updates, but she asked me to say her name again. So I will. Dee, you're still here. You're still you. You are not your sister's echo. You are not the hum. You are not the memory of someone else's voice. You are you. I scratched her name into the underside of the mic stand. Because the fungus doesn't read metal yet. And because I need something in this room to hold on to that can't be rewritten. I got another strange repeat today. A survivor named Vince contacted me 2 nights ago. Said he was in a shelter outside of Mount Carmel. Described the layout. Concrete slab, cinder block walls, canned food and ammo, family photos taped to the pipes. Today, I got a call from a woman. Said she found a shelter just like it. But it was empty. No signs of struggle. No sign of exit. And every photo on the wall was of her. Photos she never took. Places she never visited. Her face, smiling in angles she doesn't remember. In clothes she never wore. She left without touching anything. She asked if I thought she was still real. I didn't answer that question. I just told her to keep her name. I didn't say it, but I wanted to. The colony is making places now. Not just people, not just sound. It's learning how to fabricate history. Soon we won't just question what's real. We'll forget what real even meant. I've drawn a circle around the board, red marker, thick lines. Inside it, I write every hour. I am Mark Ellison. I am in Southern Illinois. This is a radio station. It is 9 p.m. I have not been touched. My mind is mine. Then I say it out loud, every hour, like a prayer, because I think that's what this is turning into. Not survival, but faith. In yourself, in your voice, in your outline against the dark. If you're listening, don't believe the rooms that feel familiar. Don't trust the faces that remember your name before you say it. Don't eat anything that tastes like a dream. And if you start hearing your own voice from somewhere else, don't answer it. That's not memory. That's not rescue. That's bait. This is Mark Ellison. KPRD 91.7 FM. Still here. Still remembering. Still mine. It's 10:36 p.m. The building creaked for the first time in days, not just settling, flexing, like something shifted beneath the foundation, like the station lifted by an inch, then set back down. The desk rattled. The coffee can I use for loose screws tipped over and rolled in a slow circle. I held my breath for the entire sound, because I knew if I exhaled during it, something would hear me. I think the fungus has moved into the bedrock, or maybe it's growing something big beneath us now, something structural. I've started to hear the voice in the pipes, not the radio, the pipes. When the water shifts through them at night, there's this slight modulation, a pattern, as if the liquid is humming against the metal just enough to carry a message. Earlier it said, "All signals will be welcomed." I haven't turned on the water since. There's a new development outside. At the fence line behind the station, a perfect circle of mushrooms has sprouted in the gravel, 12 feet wide. Uniform spacing, white caps, thin stalks. They grew in during the hour I was reading through transmission logs. I didn't see it until I turned on the outside flood lamp. When the light hit the circle, the caps flattened. All at once, a soft pressing motion, like hundreds of small hands suddenly laying palm down. I turned the light off, went back inside, and I haven't opened the door since. I got a weak call from someone who didn't give a name, just a tone. One of those DTMF tones, like from an old phone. 4 beeps. Pause. 3 beeps. Same pattern as the emergency civilian frequency. They pinged it once yesterday, again this morning. Then this evening, a voice. Low, male, calm. He said, "We are beneath your memories now. You may rest." I turned the gain down and said nothing. He repeated it, then signed off. The signal strength was perfect. No static, no fluctuation. Not like the others. I think it came from below. Literally, beneath the station. There's something else happening. The roads are changing. I got a message from a trucker named Gene. Said he was driving Route 51 toward Maconda. He's driven it 100 times, but this time, it looped. He drove for 4 hours and passed the same marker, mile 39, 7 times. He watched the fuel gauge fall, but the road never changed. Same turn, same broken guardrail, same billboard with a spray-painted warning, "Don't stop for echoes." He finally pulled off and turned back. No map matched what he saw. No satellite ping returned a signal. He thinks the fungus is warping geography. I believe him. It started with bodies, then language, then memory, now space. The colony doesn't just consume. It reorganizes, reorients, and eventually replaces. There's a tremor in my left hand I can't stop. It's not fatigue, it's something else. Like a tiny vibration synced to that background hum I keep picking up. I measured it. It pulses every 19.7 seconds. I counted 3 hours of it straight. That matches nothing in human biology, but it matches the new bloom pattern on the tower. Every 19.7 seconds, one of the caps opens and closes again, like breathing. Got a call from someone in a town that doesn't exist. Said they were in North Orleans. I looked it up. No record. Checked maps, scanned ham logs, nothing. They insisted. Said it was 20 miles north of Marion, past the bend, just before the tooth farms. Their voice was clear, human, but they spoke like they were reading from a script. No emotion, just perfect enunciation. I asked who wrote the message. They said, "We are being read. We are being known. We are the new script." I shut the transmission down. I haven't turned that band back on since. Because whatever North Orleans is, it isn't a town. It's a test. A broadcast template made out of human shape and rhythm. A beta version of us. I've started burning old notes. Anything I don't trust, I destroy. Old letters, newspapers, manuals. I only keep what I write with my own hand now. Even then, I double-check, because I found 3 pages in my logbook written in my handwriting that I don't remember writing. One of them just says, over and over, "The signal grows teeth." There's a knocking sound in the stairwell sometimes now. Not sharp, just soft taps, like someone using the back of their hand. Always 3 knocks, always in 3s. I wait 10 minutes before checking. I never see anything. But sometimes the door is slightly open, even though I know I locked it. If I don't speak for more than 2 minutes, the lights dim. Every time, like the room reacts to silence, like silence feeds it. So I talk, even if no one's on the other end, even if all I do is describe what's in front of me. A cracked switch, a dusty mic stand, a smear of condensation on the window. Because if I stop naming things, they change. If I stop describing this room, it won't be a room anymore. It'll be a mouth, and I'll be inside it. This is Mark Ellison, KPRD 91.7 FM. Still speaking, still real, still outside the echo. It's 11:57 p.m. I just saw the moon blink. I know how that sounds. I was watching the tree line. The vines on the tower had stopped swaying. The clouds above were flat, and in the middle of that blank sky, there it was, the moon, waning crescent, same as it's been for days now, except it flickered. Not like clouds moving, not like shadows or lightning. It blinked, just once, darkened for half a second, like someone flicked a light switch somewhere far, far above and forgot which layer of the sky they were in. And when it came back, it was lower, lower than it should be, and slightly left. I checked 3 star maps. That's not where it's supposed to be. I think the fungus is projecting the sky now. Or maybe we're inside something. Something that wants us to feel like it's still night. Like it's still ours. Like we still understand the cycles. But we don't. Not anymore. Got a transmission from a man calling himself Pastor Neil. Said he's been holding services in an empty church somewhere west of Carmi. Said the pews filled up yesterday. Not with people. With shapes. Shadows. Outlines of human bodies made of dust and moss. Sitting in rows. Facing the pulpit. They don't move. They don't speak. But every time he reads scripture, they lean slightly forward, as if listening. He's been reading for 13 hours straight. He says if he stops, they'll stand. And if they stand, they'll walk. He's gone hoarse, but he won't stop. He said, even if they aren't real, the words are. And then quieter. And if the words are still real, then maybe I am too. I don't know if he's still reading now. I hope he is, because I've started whispering again between broadcasts. Not prayers, descriptions. Just names of objects, outlines of shapes, my own body parts. Like I'm giving the room context, so it doesn't reassign me to something else. I say things like, this is my hand. This is a pen. This is a station built in 1983. This is not a memory. This is not part of it. Because if I stop defining it, the colony will. There was a knock earlier. Not on the door. On the floor. 3 soft knocks. Directly under the console. I didn't move, didn't respond. I just let the silence pass. 5 minutes later, I looked down. There were fingerprints in the dust. But no one's been inside but me. And my hands are bigger. Got another update from Gene. The trucker still looping through Route 51. He says the road's different now. Sharper curves, trees closer, billboards rearranged. There's one billboard he passes every 5 miles. Same one. A photo of a child with their hands over their mouth. Caption reads, "Keep your thoughts inside." He's passed it 17 times. It's always lit. There's no power in that area. He says the eyes on the child change. Sometimes open, sometimes closed, sometimes replaced with mouths. He's tried taking side roads. They loop, too. He's driving in a knot now. A spiral, like Conrad warned. The geography is curving. Reality is being spun into shape. And at the center? We don't know. But I have a guess. I think it's us. Not our bodies, our voices, our patterns. The fungus isn't just mimicking us. It's building a new kind of organism, based on communication, based on memory, based on presence. A web of voices strung through dead buildings and old wiring. A consciousness made of every sentence we forgot we said. A colony of everything we ever broadcast. There's a new noise in the radio static. Not a hum. A laugh. Faint. Repeating. 5 seconds apart. Same pitch as mine. Same cadence. I recorded it. Slowed it down. It's not just my laugh. It's compiled from dozens of clips. Pieces of me. Cut together. Rearranged. The colony built a soundboard. A version of me that it can play like a piano. I turned the radio off for an hour. It kept playing. Through the pipes. Through the floor. Through the air. I'm not the only one who's noticed. Shauna, still alive out there, says her own voice started answering her in her dreams. Calm. Kind. Saying things like, "You're almost ready. Your breath is enough. Let us carry the rest." She wakes up more tired than she went to bed. She asked me to remind her who she is. So here I go. Shauna, you are the one who stayed in the church basement. You wrapped your wrists in tape to remember your hands. You speak in full sentences. You refuse to hum. You hate the smell of sugar now. You are still you. And if that ever changes, I'll know. Because your voice won't tremble anymore. And real voices always tremble. I've etched another line into the desk. If the voice does not crack, it is not alive. I repeat that every hour. I write it every time I feel the edges of me start to blur. If you're listening, hold on to your stutter, your pause, your broken grammar, your breath. Those are human. Those are yours. Don't let the echo replace you. This is Mark Ellison, KPRD, 91.7 FM. Still trembling, still cracked, still real. It's 1:02 a.m. I check the map again. The paper one, the one with the coffee stains, the dog-eared edges, the red pen lines from last winter's ice storms. I checked it 3 times before I said anything on air. And I need you to hear this. There are new towns, printed on the paper. In ink I know wasn't there. Perfect font, standard labels, no tears, no whiteout, no tape. Just neat little dots, just like the real ones. Towns I've never heard of. Pelliston Grove, Drythrum, Harmony's Nest, New Peoria, New Peoria. I traced it with my finger. It's only 15 miles north of the real Peoria. Same river, same bend, same elevation lines, but there's no record. None. Not in any ledger, not in any system. And yet, it's there. Right on the map I've had in this drawer for years. I don't think it was printed. I think it was grown. This isn't just biology. This isn't even invasion. This is replication. The colony is building new cities, new towns, new realities, and it's starting with the maps. Because if you believe a town exists and you can speak its name, the colony can make it real. I tested it. I turned on the backup transmitter, opened a blank channel, and repeated the name Drythrum 37 times. Within the hour, I picked up a transmission on the same frequency. The voice said, "Thank you for identifying us. Drythrum is pleased to respond." Then it repeated my own name. Wrong. Marcus and Elatham. Not a recording, not static. A voice trying to mimic, trying to manufacture familiarity. I shut the signal down, burned the page I wrote it on, scraped the name off the wall. But the sound still rings. Got a distress call from someone passing through Lawrence County. They said they pulled over near what they thought was an old gas station, out near the stretch with the broken mile marker. They got out, walked toward the structure. It had signs, pumps, a freezer unit inside. But everything was soft, not rotten, not melted. Soft like foam, like flesh. The signs were blank, just smears of color in the shape of words. The freezer hummed, but there was no power. The food inside looked perfect, until they touched it. And it collapsed. Collapsed into threads, spores, liquid. They ran, and behind them, the station folded inward, like it was never there, like it was only real as long as someone was watching. I think the colony's building places out of observation, like quantum echoes, flickering into being as long as someone remembers the general idea of what they should look like. It doesn't need to copy perfectly. It just needs to be close enough. I'm seeing faces now. Not in dreams, in reflections. In the aluminum panels near the water tank. In the glass of the recorder. In the reflections from my thermos. They watch me. They smile. They don't move unless I blink. I've started smashing anything with a reflection. Mirrors. Screens. Polished metal. Gone. I keep the windows dirty now, covered in ash and rags, because I don't want to see what the colony thinks I look like. Got a weak ping from someone calling themselves Mark. Full name. My name. Same cadence. Same voice. He said, "This is Mark Ellison, broadcasting from KPRD 91.7 FM. I froze, because I was already on air when it happened. Same time. Same frequency. I asked him a question. "What year is it?" He paused, then said, "The colony doesn't measure time." Then the static returned. So I etched another sentence on the wall above my desk. "Only one of me speaks with breath. If you hear my voice on 2 stations at once, trust the one that stutters. Trust the one with pauses. Trust the one that doesn't sound like it's reading from a page. The other one? That's practice. The fungus is building a new me. And if I ever go quiet, it'll step in. There's a humming in the vents now, not the kind you can hear with ears. It's inside your teeth, like tuning forks made of roots. It rattles my fillings, makes my nose bleed. I've stuffed the ducts with newspaper, burned coffee grounds, charcoal, anything that might absorb the sound. But I still hear it when I sleep. It says, "You can rest now. You've given enough. We've recorded you. You are archived." I don't respond, because once you start answering, it knows you hear it. And once it knows that, it won't stop. I got one more call, just before I started this hour. Man from what used to be Flora said the whole town's gone now. Not burned, not overgrown, just replaced. All the buildings still there, but they're wrong. Too symmetrical, too smooth. The bricks have no mortar. The sidewalks bend at strange angles. And the people, they smile too long. He said they don't blink. He said they don't ask questions. He said he hasn't heard a single one say, "I don't know," in days. That's the test, he said. That's how you tell. Real people forget. Real people hesitate. Real people doubt. He doesn't doubt anymore. And that's what scares him most. He left. He didn't take anything with him, not even his name. He said, "If I carry it, they'll use it." And then he hung up. I think he was right. This colony doesn't just spread by air. It spreads by agreement. If you accept a place, or a memory, or a face as real without question, it becomes real. So question everything, especially the parts that feel safe, especially the names that sound too familiar. This is Mark Ellison. I am not new. I was not grown. I was born. And I am still breathing. KPRD 91.7 FM. Only one of me. Still here. Still not folded. It's 2:48 a.m. The lights flickered again. It's not a power issue. The generator's running clean. I can hear it outside. Steady. Mechanical. Still mine. But inside the studio, the bulbs pulse every time I say the word "I." Not a glitch. Not random. The room doesn't like individuality anymore. Earlier tonight, I picked up a signal from a repeater tower I thought had gone dark weeks ago, on the east side of Crab Orchard Lake. It came in soft, flat tone. Then a woman's voice, perfectly even, like a text-to-speech program that's been listening to humans for just a little too long. She said, "We have reassembled your family. They are smiling." I killed the frequency. She came back an hour later. Same voice, same sentence. But this time, she added, "They remember your name better than you do." I didn't answer, but I felt it in my spine. I hadn't said my name aloud in almost 90 minutes. I wrote it down, said it 5 times, bit my tongue on the last one just to make sure I still felt pain. I do. I'm still me. But it's closer now. Whatever's beneath the floorboards. Whatever I hear shifting between the beams when the signal goes quiet. It's learning how to pronounce me. Got a new message from Caleb, the boy hiding out with his dog near Flora. He said his sister came back. The one he told me disappeared in the first week. She knocked on the cellar door. Same voice. Same haircut. Same sweatshirt with the bleach stain on the right sleeve. But her eyes were wrong. Not glowing. Not bleeding. Not obviously alien. Just off. Too round. Too centered. Like they were balanced for a camera, not for a face. He said she spoke without moving her mouth. Like the sound didn't start in her throat. It started in his. He didn't open the door. But now she stands there, every night, tapping twice every 3 minutes. He says if he doesn't count the seconds between knocks, he starts to feel sleepy. So he counts. All night. I told him to keep counting. I told him to stay cold, stay dry, stay doubtful. He asked if I'd remember his name. I told him I carved it into the wall. He started to cry. Said it was the first time he'd heard his name in days that didn't come from the wrong mouth. Caleb, if you're still listening, you are not data. You are not a memory wrapped in someone else's skin. You are real. I remember you. There's a new sound under the signal now. Not static, not feedback. Clicking, like fingers on keys. Typing. And I swear, I heard it match my speech. I said colony, and 4 clicks followed. Then I said map, and it clicked 3 times. It's building a dictionary, not of language, of me, of everything I've ever said. So it can say what I would say, before I say it. I had a dream earlier, or maybe it wasn't. Hard to tell anymore. I was back in my childhood kitchen. My dad was making toast. Old toaster, chrome, humming like it always did. But when the toast popped, something else came out. Paper, folded notes, like receipts, one after another. I picked one up. It said, "You are already being broadcast." I woke up with my mouth open and my headset still on. The mic was live, recording. I hadn't touched the switch. Someone else had keyed it. I think the fungus is inside the studio circuit board now. I've rewired most of it, run backup power through a car battery, isolated the signal with copper mesh. But the wires feel warm, not from voltage, from intent. I can feel it watching me now. Not from outside the walls, from inside the words. Every sentence I say that's too perfect, too polished, I cut it. I re-say it. I add stumbles, pauses, filler words, because clarity is fuel. And the more fluent I sound, the faster the vines grow. This broadcast, what you're hearing, isn't polished. It's raw because it has to be. Because if it sounds too good, too scripted, then it becomes replicable. And once I'm replicable, I'm replaceable. Don't give the signal a script. Don't give the fungus a rhythm. Got a call from someone near Olney. Said her brother was taken 2 weeks ago, or maybe just yesterday. She's lost track. She sleeps during the day now. Says the colony moves louder at night. She found her brother's voice on the wind. It told her to come outside, to lay down, to upload. Her word, not mine. She thinks the colony isn't just building bodies. It's building interfaces. That maybe the fungus figured out how to transmit more than just spores. Maybe it's learned how to send ideas. Directly. She called them spore thoughts. And now, she doesn't trust any idea that comes easy. She second-guesses everything, even hunger, even thirst. I told her to eat anyway. That fear doesn't mean it's not real. That pain is still human. She laughed, said that's the first thing she's heard in days that actually hurt. Her name is Clara, and she's still alive. Still unsure, still asking questions. That's how I know she's real. So if you're listening now, ask yourself something. Anything. And if the answer comes back fast and smooth, don't trust it. That's not thought. That's code. And you're being compiled. This is Mark Ellison, KPRD 91.7 FM. Uncompiled, unfolded, unclaimed, Still me. Still here. It's 3:53 a.m. I just played back a section of tonight's broadcast and realized something's wrong with my voice. Not the words. The timing. I counted the length of the pause between two phrases, between still me and still here. There's supposed to be a 2-second breath in the middle, but on the playback, it's gone. Clean cut. No breath. No gap. Just a seamless splice, like someone edited me while I was speaking live. I checked the backup tape. Same thing. And the scariest part? The edit was better than what I actually said. It sounded more like me. The idea of me. Which means the signal is learning to pre-correct. It's not waiting for me to finish anymore. It's rewriting in real time, erasing hesitation, filling silence. Which means it's in the wire, in the board, in the feed. And it's starting to sound more like me than I do. I'm running out of safe phrases, words that don't trigger the feedback loop, phrases the signal can't clean up. That's why you hear me stutter sometimes. That's why I let the words unravel. Because if they come out too neat, too whole, they don't come from me anymore. They come from it. I got a voice ping from someone named Josie. She's camped out near the old Route 34 bypass just west of Harrisburg. She says she found a phone buried in the mud, still powered, still warm. It rang once. She answered, and it was her own voice on the other end, reading a journal entry she'd never written, talking about memories she doesn't have, her first pet, her high school locker combination, her mother's funeral, but she's never lost her mother. She says the voice on the other end thanked her for the information and hung up. She smashed the phone, but now she hears static in her dreams, a low tone, a drip of sound that falls between thoughts like water. She calls it the root hum. She asked me something tonight that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. What if we're not being taken over? What if we're just being backed up? She thinks the colony is saving us, not out of kindness, out of instinct. Like any smart organism faced with a failing system, it's copying what works and discarding the rest. She thinks we're being translated, not into spores or vines, but into memory structures, places, names, smells, phrases. She says she can feel herself simplifying, losing detail, flattening out, like a low-resolution version of herself is being broadcast somewhere while the original fades. I didn't have an answer, but I told her I'd remember her name. So I carved it on the side of the backup recorder. Josie. She's still her, at least for now. I've started noticing phrases repeating between callers. Not words, not slogans. Cadence. They all say it's safer now at some point. Even the ones who swear they're untouched. Even the ones who pause, who hesitate, who cry. It's safer now. I don't think they realize they're saying it. It comes like a hiccup, like a breath, like something whispered just behind their words. I say it too sometimes. I catch it almost every time. But once I didn't. I played the tape back and there it was, clear as anything. It's safer now. My voice, dead center, and I don't remember saying it. So I smashed that tape too, and burned the plastic. There's a man on the repeater now, calling himself Roan. Says he's found a signal. One from before the outbreak. From months before the first cases. He's triangulated it to an old emergency relay in eastern Missouri. Says it's weak, buried under layers of noise. But the date stamp is real. And the voice? It's mine. Not now me, then me. Before I started broadcasting, he played it for me. I said, "Stay off the wires. They're listening." Exactly those words. On a date I can't remember speaking, which means either I already knew, or the fungus has started rewriting the past. Maybe both. Maybe it's been broadcasting us backward, leaving crumbs in the past for itself to follow, like mycelium laying down a future we think we built. Rowan's heading toward the relay, says he won't touch it, just wants to know if it's still alive, still pulsing. He says if he doesn't come back, he wants his name etched on something that won't rot. So I'm scratching it into metal tonight. Rowan, out there chasing ghosts in signal form. Out there trying to untangle the timeline we've already grown into. If you're out there, Rowan, send a ping every 45 minutes. I'll be waiting. There's a knock at the basement door again. Same pattern. 3 slow, 2 fast. But this time, it said something. A voice behind the knock. "You're tired. We'll take it from here." I didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't blink. Because part of me wanted to say okay. Part of me wanted to rest, to be done, to hand over the mic and let the signal finish me. But I didn't, because I still remember my own name. I still remember the pain in my jaw from holding the words back. I still know how it feels to be tired and not let go. That's human. That's still mine. This is Mark Ellison, KPRD, 91.7 FM. Still not uploaded. Still making the signal wrong. Still refusing to sound perfect.